On the day we were supposed to begin our honeymoon, I was blindsided when he handed me divorce papers instead, announcing that he was taking his entire family on what was supposed to be our trip. He coldly added that if I objected, we could just go our separate ways. My anger simmered beneath the surface, but I managed to respond calmly. Fine, but remember that I am still my own person. The shock on his face gave me a fleeting sense of triumph. I'm Samantha, 37 years old, and I work in real estate, a career that I genuinely love and find fulfilling. I'm fortunate to have supportive colleagues, but despite my professional success, my personal life feels lackluster. I don't have any hobbies, and I've never been in a relationship. As my friends settled into marriage in their 30s, I found myself feeling increasingly anxious about being one of the few still single. It didn't help that many of my younger colleagues were leaving the company, deepening my sense of loss. Then, through a mutual friend, I met Daniel, 3 years younger than me. He had a warm smile that instantly put me at ease. Though he was a man of few words, he listened intently, ensuring that my opinions mattered in any decisions we faced. Lacking relationship experience, I quickly developed feelings for him. When I broached the subject of marriage, Daniel agreed without hesitation. Marriage is a major life choice, involving plans for a wedding, honeymoon, and a shared home. I was eager for us to navigate these decisions together, but Daniel always deferred to me, never sharing his thoughts. This began to make him seem less reliable and more distant. My dissatisfaction with him grew, especially regarding my future mother-in-law, who couldn't be more different from Daniel's easygoing nature. She was domineering, often disregarding my views while imposing her own. Samantha, once you're married, you'll quit your job and focus on the home, right? You're not getting any younger, and if you don't hurry, you might struggle to have kids. Daniel is working hard, so as a woman, you should concentrate on the family. It's a wife's duty to support her husband, she declared during one of our first encounters. Clinging to outdated beliefs, she assumed that I would take on the household responsibilities while Daniel worked. Ironically, I earned more than he did, a detail he didn't mind sharing with his parents, though his mother looked down on it. A woman who earns more than a man isn't charming. Can you even manage household chores? A wife should cook, clean, do laundry, and care for her husband's health. Can you do that? She challenged, clearly underestimating me. In reality, I had been living independently for years, managing all my household responsibilities effectively. I had no intention of quitting my job after marriage. I wanted to balance both my personal and professional life, prioritizing my needs along with Daniel's. Yet, whenever my mother-in-law criticized me, Daniel offered no defense. He simply nodded in agreement, which planted seeds of doubt about his reliability as a lifelong partner. This lack of support left me uneasy about our future together and whether I could truly count on him when it mattered most. Though Daniel was younger, I sometimes hoped he would mature into a more dependable partner as he aged. A part of me feared that if this marriage didn't work out, I might never marry at all. My mind was a constant tug-of-war between anxiety and longing, caught in an endless struggle as time marched forward without mercy. With so many decisions looming for the wedding, from picking a honeymoon destination to scheduling time off work, my to-do list seemed to grow ever longer, amplifying my unease. Amid the chaos of balancing work and wedding plans, I decided it was time to discuss our arrangements with Daniel. Considering our work schedules, I suggested we plan our honeymoon for a specific period, as it might be our only chance for an extended vacation together. Should we consider taking our honeymoon during this time? I asked. Yeah, that sounds good to me, Daniel replied easily. It felt like a rare opportunity for us, as we both would be free from work commitments. However, the wedding venue I had always dreamed of was booked for over a year. Faced with this dilemma, I proposed an unconventional solution. What do you think about going on our honeymoon before the wedding? I've heard some people do that. If we wait for the wedding first, it will be 3 more years before we can take the trip, I explained. If you're okay with it, Samantha, then I'm fine with it too, Daniel said without hesitation. I was relieved that he didn't object to my suggestion, yet his easy agreement felt bittersweet. He seemed to accept my opinions without question. While I appreciated the lack of opposition, I also longed for him to share his thoughts more often. Still, I found comfort in knowing we could move forward without conflict for now. Seizing the opportunities as they came, I pressed on with the arrangements for our honeymoon and wedding. Eventually, we settled on Europe for our honeymoon, but I had been torn between Florida and Europe right up until the last moment. Florida was closer, and I thought we could always visit another time. However, the allure of Italy and Spain won out, and I was eager to explore their stunning streets and indulge in the exquisite cuisine. I also looked forward to shopping for stylish accessories and special tableware to celebrate the beginning of our new life together. After meticulously coordinating our schedules and destinations, I finalized all the arrangements about a month before our departure. My excitement was at an all-time high. This was my first overseas trip, and I was buzzing with enthusiasm, my mind filled with thoughts of travel essentials and planning our activities in Europe. Amid this excitement, any previous frustrations I had with Daniel seemed to fade away. However, just a week before our honeymoon, Daniel surprised me with an unexpected request. It was rare for him to voice such things, so my curiosity was piqued. Perhaps he had found a specific place he wanted to visit in Paris. "What's on your mind?" I asked, eager to hear what he had to say. In an almost innocent manner, Daniel expressed his wish. "I want to go to Finch Melody Auditorium when we're in Paris. Mom wants to go there," he said. I was taken aback. "Your mother-in-law? Wait, what do you mean?" I stammered, struggling to understand this sudden shift in plans. To Daniel, it seemed perfectly logical. "Well, since everyone else is going," he explained, as if it were simply a matter of course, leaving me grappling with this unexpected change. As we discussed the trip, Daniel casually dropped another bombshell. "We'll all be together during the trip, right?" he said, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. "What do you mean, everyone? It's our honeymoon. It should just be the two of us," I replied, bewildered. Daniel, however, remained unfazed. "My mom thinks it's normal for the whole family to come along." I was floored. "Daniel, I only made reservations for two, just you and me. The booking deadline was a week ago. Today is the last day to confirm our plans, and I only registered us," I said, struggling to maintain my composure. "It might still be possible for the whole family to join if you talk to the travel agency. They could sort something out," Daniel suggested optimistically. Before I could respond, the intercom buzzed. I saw my in-laws on the screen. Without waiting for an invitation, they barged into the house, dragging several bags behind them. My mother-in-law's eyes sparkled with excitement as she announced, "I thought I'd drop off the luggage here since we're leaving soon. I'm so excited." Daniel quickly took charge of the situation. "Just leave the luggage here," he said, ushering them into the room without so much as asking for my approval. "Wait a minute," I interjected, trying to halt the chaos, but my mother-in-law shot me a sharp look. "What's the matter, Samantha? I hope you're not saying you don't want us all to go together," she challenged. "I never agreed to go together in the first place," I shot back, but she dismissed my response. "You heard her, she just said no," she declared dismissively, then turned to Daniel, coaxing him. "But you always thought we would go together, right?" "Yeah," Daniel replied simply, backing his mother's assumption. My mother-in-law seized on his agreement, continuing to undermine me. "It's perfectly normal for the husband's parents to go on the honeymoon. Don't you have common sense?" This left me questioning not only the trip but also the very foundation of our relationship. As the situation escalated, my mother-in-law attempted to smooth over the tension with a troubling comment. "I hope you won't ruin the trip with any unpleasant experiences. It's a special honeymoon after all, and we want to create good memories, right? I'll make sure to teach you some common sense this week before we leave," she said, treating it as a given that she and the rest of the family would be joining us. Feeling my frustration boil over, I countered, "This is a honeymoon, you know. It's supposed to be just the husband and wife." I understood that if I caved to my mother-in-law's demands now, it would set a terrible precedent for our future. I was determined to avoid that situation at all costs, yet she remained unyielding, dismissing my concerns outright. "It's just common sense for the husband's parents to join the honeymoon. I can't believe you wouldn't want to be with us. I thought we were becoming a family, but it seems we have different ideas about common sense. You don't seem to like me, and nothing matches up. How sad," she lamented, her tone dripping with insincerity, eyebrows furrowing in a feigned display of disappointment. Her words, especially the "how sad," felt like an attempt at manipulation, and even Daniel, without a moment's hesitation, sided with her. "Samantha, what's wrong with you? They're my parents. It's perfectly fine for us to go on the honeymoon together, right?" "It's not possible," I replied firmly. "We've already booked reservations for just 2 people. Plus, I've never heard of families joining a honeymoon." Daniel's response was heated, as if he were looking for a fight. "I never realized you disliked my parents so much, Samantha," he exclaimed. Then, dismissing the discussion with a cold tone, he added, "That's enough, just leave for today." His incredulous gaze made me feel as though my stance was incomprehensible. A sly smile spread across my mother-in-law's face as I stood there, bewildered and hurt, wondering why Daniel always sided with her without considering my feelings, especially during such a critical moment. As I stepped outside, I felt utterly abandoned, the door slamming shut behind me. In that fleeting moment, I caught a glimpse of my mother-in-law's triumphant expression, a look that celebrated her victory. Alone and disoriented, I questioned why I was being portrayed as the antagonist and why this special trip, along with everything else, felt doomed. Overwhelmed by frustration and sadness, tears streamed down my face. A few hours later, my phone buzzed with a message from Daniel. "I want you to check if it's still possible for my parents to join the tour. If not, we'll cancel this trip and find one that we can all go on. Please think rationally and reconsider. We can sort this out if you do." His words stung. There was no acknowledgement of my feelings, only a cold push for rationality. As he perceived it, he didn't contact me again after that message, and as time passed, I sensed that he was likely just as upset as I was. Despite everything, the day we were supposed to leave for our honeymoon arrived. I was in no mood to celebrate, but after spending a month preparing, I couldn't just walk away. As I was getting ready, the intercom rang. It was Daniel coming to pick me up. We hadn't seen each other since the heated confrontation, and I was unsure how to act around him. His arrival suggested he still intended to go on the trip, but oddly, he carried no luggage. Instead, he held a set of divorce papers. "You still planned to go on this trip after hurting my parents, didn't you?" he accused, disappointment heavy in his voice. "I'm taking my whole family on this honeymoon. If you don't like it, let's get a divorce." His words were a chilling conclusion to our conflict, leaving no room for discussion. It was clear that, in his eyes, familial bonds outweighed our relationship, and his mother's influence was decisive. Caught between heartbreak and disbelief, I stood frozen, realizing that my marriage was ending before it had even begun. Daniel presented the divorce papers with an unsettling finality. "My mom said it would be better this way." In that moment, the stark reality of who he truly was crystallized before me. I had always imagined he would listen to me, value my feelings, and show kindness. Instead, it became glaringly obvious that he lacked conviction and prioritized his family's wishes over our relationship. As this understanding settled in, my feelings for him cooled significantly. The prospect of marrying him seemed increasingly futile, especially with his overbearing mother looming large. The future, if tied to them, appeared filled with endless compromises and disputes. Determined, I pointed at the divorce papers he had thrust before me, responding with a decisiveness that caught him off guard. "Sure, but remember, I'm still single." "Single? What do you mean?" Daniel looked genuinely confused, his earlier composure slipping. "Weren't you listening? We talked about going on the honeymoon but delaying the marriage registration until the day of the ceremony. I made sure to get your agreement." "Daniel, you didn't forget, did you? The marriage certificate is still in the drawer. You even said, 'If you're fine with it, Samantha, then I'm fine too.'" "That's right, divorce or not, we're not even married yet. There's no issue with me going on the honeymoon under my maiden name." Perhaps my words jolted a memory. Daniel's face momentarily flickered with recognition before turning crimson with frustration. "Are you out of your mind to give up on marriage just because of a honeymoon? Get a grip," he exclaimed, matching my intensity with his own. I stood my ground. "This is what rationality looks like. You've shown me where your priorities lie, and now I must protect my interests and well-being in this situation." This confrontation wasn't merely about a trip. It was a stand against losing myself and my autonomy in a marriage that was revealing itself to be built on conditional terms and expectations I simply could not accept. I had been so eager to get married that I had lost sight of reality. I realized I couldn't be happy marrying someone who didn't respect my opinions or offer support. I'd rather remain single for life. "Thanks for helping me understand that haste truly makes waste," I declared, feeling the weight of that old saying resonate deeply within me. "Hey, Samantha, let's calm down and start over, okay?" Daniel pleaded, his voice trembling as if he were on the verge of tears, but his appeals no longer swayed me. My resolve had solidified. I was determined to break free from him. In a moment of clarity, I raised my voice. "If you're so desperate for a family trip, why don't you go with your family of 3? But this time, you'll have to plan everything yourself, from the tour reservations to the itinerary. It's time you experience the difficulty firsthand after always relying on others. If you think you can handle it, then go ahead, you indecisive man." I pulled the marriage certificate from the drawer and tore it to shreds right in front of him. His mouth fell open, shocked by my actions and overwhelmed by my determination. "Do you understand how serious I am now? I refuse to let my future be dictated by anyone else. It's over between us. Why don't you go back to your beloved mommy and cry to her, you mama's boy?" I said, leaving a stunned Daniel behind as I slammed the front door shut. Given his demeanor, I could easily picture him seeking comfort from his mother. Afterward, I contacted the tour company to cancel our reservations. Although it was a same-day cancellation and I would incur a financial loss, the sense of liberation from prioritizing my well-being was worth every penny. Following the cancellation of our honeymoon, I decided to bill Daniel for the entire amount, as his actions had led to this fiasco. It seemed only fair under the circumstances. Later, Daniel attempted to shift the blame for our failed marriage onto me and even spread rumors among our circle of friends and coworkers. However, his efforts to garner sympathy backfired. His reputation as a mama's boy, an apt label based on his past behavior, didn't win him any friends. When I discussed the divorce with my parents, they were initially taken aback but quickly came around. They reminded me that marriage isn't the sole source of happiness. "As long as you're happy, Samantha, that's what matters," they said. Their support provided great comfort during that turbulent time. On a brighter note, this entire ordeal reignited my passion for travel. It seemed a shame to let the opportunity for long vacations slip away, so I embarked on my first solo trip. Traveling alone to foreign destinations felt daunting at first, but it turned out to be incredibly fulfilling. I visited historic cities I had always dreamed of seeing and discovered that I actually enjoyed my own company. The experience of solo travel opened up a new realm of freedom and adventure for me. Thanks to these solo adventures, I've grown to love traveling on my own terms. I'm eagerly planning my next trip abroad for my upcoming break. This new chapter in my life is one where I am not defined by marriage or constrained by others' expectations. Instead, I am embracing a lifestyle where I can explore the world and myself freely.